Hello, I'm Paul.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Ben.
And welcome to the Filmbusters podcast. The film show with no filters, no prisoners taken, loads of disagreements, but one hell of a love for cinema.
If you want to hear three friends ridiculing each other for an hour or so regarding their taste in films, then you have come to the right place.
In each episode, one of the team picks a film for us to discuss. It could be anything from a recent cinema release to an all-time classic.
So, strap in and get ready to get mad or get vindicated as we guide you through the murky world of being a film geek.
If you like what you hear, you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram using @FilmbustersPod. You can also find each of our individual accounts. I'm at Filmbusters Paul.
I'm at Filmbusters Adam.
And I'm at Filmbusters Ben.
If you want to use your eyes instead of your ears, you can also visit the website at filmbusterspod.co.uk.
And if busting makes you feel good, you can also support us at patreon.com/filmbusters for exclusive content.
Alright, can we just get on with this now, please?
Filmbusters.
I just want to say how wonderful it was to have you two over my house. It was such a lovely time.
It was our pleasure.
It was.
Thanks for moving my shed with me.
Yeah. I hope it's in the best position the shed has ever been in.
Yeah.
That was a bizarre, wild Sunday.
It was
Not
great,
only
wasn't
were
it?
we
It's lovely.
shifting sheds, Woody, Paul's oldest boy, was incessantly wanting to play with the dinosaurs. We had a lot of fun. And I taught him about the dinosaur toilet, the T-Rex toilet, and I had a lot of fun coming up with that
You
joke.
did. You did have a lot
And
of
he
You had more fun than he did.
No, he laughed. The thing is, you lot were inside. There was a moment. I wish I could have
laughed.
captured it.
No one else saw it. He laughed.
I said to Woody this thing about the T-Rex toilet, and he looked at me, and like he held the look for like a minute, a second or two, and then he went,
minute.
ah, and I was like, I've made him genuinely laugh. That's fucking hard to
He
do
didn't
with
know
kids.
what was going on. He was laughing because you were laughing.
He did. I think every time that I
No.
mentioned the T-Rex toilet, he sort of half looked at me as if to say, I'm not sure you're allowed to say that.
He's wise. He's wise beyond his years. He knows what's going on. He knew that was a funny joke.
It was a funny joke. And we played with the water pistols.
Yeah, he was very annoyed about that.
I was watching Ben and Woody play outside of the water pistols. They both had a little pistol, and Ben looked like he was playing every kind of scene he'd seen in a film, like shooting the gun in the air. It's
That's
like
exactly what I
really
was
getting
doing.
involved.
It's exactly what I was doing. The best moment was when I was stood in the doorway, the patio doorway, if that's what you call it, patio, and Woody was walking back to the house. His gun was out of water, and he said, wait a minute, I've run out of water. And I said, that's a shame, I haven't. And I pointed the gun at him, bang. That's a movie scene.
That's a movie scene.
It was a lot of fun.
He did not like it when I shot him with a water pistol. He was getting very annoyed and he kept grassing me up to everyone.
I think there's a big distinction who's the good uncle and who's the bad uncle. As in
I
like
didn't do anything.
As in like the naughty one, because there was a time when Ben and Woody were playing with the water pistols, but they weren't shooting the water at each other. And as soon as Adam
right.
got involved, the water was completely on Woody.
Woody
Yeah.
was soaked. He didn't know what to do. He kept shooting the sky or shooting like behind you, like at your feet. He was just like shooting him point blank in the head.
It was a lot of fun. We had
Very
a nice
good.
little meal. It was our third time at Paul's house, I believe.
Yes.
We
yes.
were there for
The whistling
the
dog.
Tomb Raider record and the Whistling Dog night. That's very early days. Filmbusters, any hardcore Filmbusters fans, you were with us live when that actually happened.
It's horrible to listen back to probably as well. So
It
don't
is.
bother
It is.
doing
It
that.
is. But yeah, it was great. It was a lot of fun, and we were very happy to come up and see Ace and welcome him into the Filmbusters
Paul made
family.
us some lovely,
Tabbouleh,
yeah.
ratatouille.
Paul Ben put his little chips in the wrong place. He put them at the bottom, and they got all soggy.
Yeah, right. Well, listen to this, listeners. So Paul made like I don't know what you call it. It's like a ratatouille type thing. I think is what you
It
call
was like
it.
it was like,
It was like deconstructed like nacho bowl or something like that.
yes.
Yeah, but so Paul told me. He said, because I was like, so there's all these different food items on this table. It was a very nice spread, right? And there's these tortilla chips. And I said, well, how should I do this? And he said,
This is a man who's almost 40.
yeah, all right, said he. But I don't eat food like that. And then Paul said, put the chips in your bowl and then add
And
the
put the
stuff.
lotion on
and then you
his
can, then you
skin.
can, and then you can pick the chip up to eat the tabbouleh or whatever it was, ratatouille. Anyway, I put the chips down there, and the first fucking thing that I put on the plate was all this tomato saucy verde or something like that, and it made all the chips super soggy. And it's like, how am I meant to eat this? And then everyone afterwards is like, oh yeah, you should have put the chips on top. Paul told
On
me
the
to put the
side.
chips at the bottom. It was his fucking
He was
dish.
annoyed. He was very annoyed.
I
about
put one on the
this.
bottom and ate it just fine.
Well, I had fun eating it.
Either way, we had a fun time, right?
We did.
Did you eat the rest of those cinnamon buns?
Oh yes, I gave a couple to the neighbours because there was so much left.
That's very good of you.
But it was so nice. So thank you so much for the cinnamon buns. I felt like Sol
Yeah.
Goodman.
It was a very fun day. It was nice for us all to be together, and all the couples were together for the first
Yeah.
time alone. Just
Exactly.
the couples.
Yeah, it was nice. Very nice.
It's very grown up, very adult.
civilised.
Yeah. And then Adam crashed the car when we drove back. When we went roly poly, I fell out the window.
Imagine barrel roll. Oh. Well, welcome back, everyone.
Yes.
We're back. We're doing an episode again. We're in the 1960 round. This is our second 1960 film, and it's brought to you by Adam. What film are we doing today?
We are doing Saturday Night, Sunday Morning. It is a film from 1960. It's set in the north of England. Am I doing this bit or are we not doing this
No,
bit?
you can do this
You
bit.
could do it. You did this last episode as well, and it's like we never do this.
I know, it's gone all out the window.
I
Everything's
don't know, it
changed.
felt natural.
Well, it's lovely. You just want to get involved, mate. Go on.
What else do I say? Yeah, it's set in the north of England. About a guy who is just a bit of a player. And he's going around sleeping with all the wives and girlfriends. And causes much unrest.
Much unrest.
Well.
Or did
talk about
he?
that a bit. Or did he? He turned around at the end and he was like, all you men, when you get to a certain age, you...
Yes. That was just a dream. I
That was
actually
just a
love
dream.
working in the factory, Duck. Yeah.
Anyone who watched The Housemaid? That was a little reference to that. But anyway,
The housemaid.
Throwback?
yes, The Housemaiden or Home Maiden, whatever it's called. Who knows?
Hand house.
So, yes, we're doing that today, but before we get onto that, let's talk about our Patreon. You can get our Patreon at www.patreon.com/filmbusters. We have exclusive episodes, and you can come on the show. You can get little recommendations for us to talk about on the show. You could kick off a round, just like Katie and Oti did for 1960. They've kicked off this whole round. And we've
They
also
threw
got...
us to South Korea.
Oh, they did indeed. They did indeed.
And I've thrown us back to, Coventry. Or not Coventry. This is probably
Nottingham,
more
I
like-
think, wasn't it?
Yeah, Nottingham.
I thought it was Nottingham.
Yeah. Yes, you can do that. And we got a Patreon episode at the end of this episode that you can go listen to right now if you want for a mere £1. And what are we doing, Adam, on the Patreon?
We're talking about the films that we watched in our break and throughout July. We're doing our top 3 and our top and our bottom worst film. There's a lot for us to unpick this time because there's a lot of films.
And just to
Oh,
tickle
yes.
your fancy, there's talk on Oppenheimer, The Flash, and what was your top one, Ben?
But don't give it away.
No one will know my shit.
That's why I couldn't remember it.
Witness for the prosecution.
Yeah.
Witness for the prosecution. Yeah, that's it. They do know that shit.
Well, maybe they do. Maybe they're more sophisticated than I give them credit for.
It's a classic.
Good.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Well, but yes, you can
Well,
get that
of
at
course.
www.patreon.com/filmbusters. Should we get to the staple of every episode, Adam?
Yes. Do you want it? You ready for it?
I want it.
Well, I'm not ready, so let me get my scores up. Ready?
Yeah.
This is about, I'm going to ask these guys 2 questions. If they get it right, they get the points. If they get it wrong, I get the points. The scores currently stand on 16 for Paul, 11 for me, and 9 for Ben. So Ben's fucking it out, basically. So
I am. I've always been in last place this year. It's terrible.
You
Things
ready for
have
the
changed.
first question?
Yes. Now's the
Are
time.
you ready?
Here's when I
Let's
finally
get a
step
shout
you
out.
ready?
Nottingham.
Yes.
I feel like the first one you're going to have to be quick on, guys. So
All
it's going to be, I want fingers speed on this one.
Go
Okay.
on.
What does Arthur use as target practice on his air rifle?
The bum of his next door neighbour.
I get to take that.
No, because the bit he used to practice shooting before he shot her.
Oh shit! Because I can't actually remember.
I will let you
Bottles.
buzz back in, Paul, Ben, if you can think.
Bottles.
'Cause- No.
I can't actually remember.
What? I can't remember.
Okay. He used a China dog.
Oh shit! I never would have
shit!
said
Yeah.
that.
It was on the mantelpiece. He shot the
A
dog's face. and then-
mantelpiece.
Mantelpiece.
Man,
He did. I remember that
that's
now.
a
Yes,
tough fucking question, mate.
but also
I thought that was quite
very
obvious.
good. It was good. No,
That's why I
it's,
said you got to be quick on it.
it's because I haven't watched it in so long. Like,
These
I
are the
watched it
questions I
last
don't
week.
normally ask because I think they're going to be too obvious.
No,
No,
that was a
they're
good
certainly
question.
not. These
Good
are the
questions.
ones.
Okay. This one's a little bit more complicated. I'm going to give you both an attempt to answer. Okay, separately.
Okay.
Right. So we don't have to just shout out the
No,
answer.
because I'm going to ask you to put something in order. So,
Okay.
but you can both
Ooh,
get a
okay.
point for this if you both get it in the right order.
Right.
I want you to rank these films/shows in order of their IMDb score. Okay.
Jesus.
Oh shit. Okay.
Saturday Night and Sunday Morning,
Yes.
Saturday Night Live, and Saturday Night Fever.
This is a very good question, Adam.
So go from top to bottom. What you think their IMDb score is? What's the lowest? What's the highest?
I want to say. Oh shit.
It's very tough because each of them could have a very strong fan base who gives it high. I could imagine them all being roughly the same.
Is it IMDb score? Did you say?
Yeah. I'll
Okay.
give you a clue. There's 1.2 rating between top and bottom.
Okay.
Because Saturday Night Live is not on Letterboxd.
I'll say
God damn.
Saturday Night Fever, Saturday Night, Sunday Morning, and then Saturday Night Live.
Okay. And Ben, what are you saying?
I'm going to say Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Fever, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And then Saturday Night, Sunday Morning.
Okay. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saturday Night Fever
Yes.
has a 6.8.
Yes.
Right.
Saturday Night and Sunday Morning has a
Yes!
7.5. And Saturday
wait.
Night Live has an
Did
8.
you say that in the order?
Wait.
Yeah, so that's from top to bottom. So you got it right, Paul.
Oh, okay. I thought the bottom one was the highest rating.
Wait a minute. Hang on. Say that again, Adam. What was 6.5?
6.8 is Saturday Night Fever.
Yes,
I swear that's what Paul said was at the top.
I did.
I said from top to bottom.
Yeah, but you just said it was 6 to 8. 6.8.
So wait, you said Saturday Night Fever as being the highest rated one, Paul?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, you got it wrong then. I thought.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Adam just did it in the bloody reverse order.
Yes.
Oh, that's why.
I mean, we both got it wrong, though, but yeah.
okay, I get a point then. Basically, I thought you had it right, Paul.
Oh, because you thought I was doing bottom to top. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, so Saturday Night Fever has a 6.8 rating. Saturday Night and Sunday Morning has a 7.5 rating, and Saturday Night Live has an 8.0 rating.
Yeah, I thought the thing is, with TV, if you ever notice, TV shows always have really high averages on IMDb. It's hard
okay.
for a film to get up there.
I thought it just grown sour over the years, so it just dropped or something.
I mean, mate, I tell you what, right? I know Alex and Julio will bring up Saturday Night Live quite a bit. It's a big thing out in America.
Yeah.
I rarely have ever seen a sketch that I think is funny on that thing. I always just
Yeah,
see them on
same.
clips. It's just painful. It's obvious. It always looks so...
Bob Odenkirk was like, when he did his little speech about it, he said how he used to be a writer on it when it very first started, and he said it was like great. It was like one of the first shows that kind of took that British comedy aspect of like no apologies, let's just make stupid jokes and all of this. And then he said that was like early 80s, and now it's kind of like what it shouldn't be. It's kind of just a palatable Saturday night entertainment show that's for families and kids and hosted by Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so after
There you
that, I
go.
think I get 2 points and you
do.
guys get
Well
none.
done.
You do. Well done. Indeed. 13 points for Adam.
Yes.
What are the scores now?
You have 16, I have 13, and Ben has 9.
Wow.
I think
Peeling's
I'm
away.
going to take 2 points. I'm going to take 2 points off Paul and give them to Ben, and then make it interesting.
Of course, yes.
I'm the quizmaster. I can do what I want.
Should we get onto this
gonna have
film?
to purge.
Yes, let's talk.
950 bloody five. Another few more and that's a lot for a Friday. £14 3 and twopence for 1,000 of these a day. No wonder I've always got a bad back. That'll soon be done. I'll have a fag in a bit. No use working every minute God sends. I could get through in half the time if I went like a bull, but they'd only slash me wages so they can get stuffed. Don't let the bastards grind you down, that's one thing I've learned.
Hello everyone, today we're doing Saturday night and Sunday morning. This is our 1960 round, so this is a 1960 film and it's directed by Carol Reitz. I think it's Reitz. And he writes this film. Maybe. I didn't actually check.
Yeah. Ben will tell us.
No one. This is a spoiler episode. This is a spoiler episode, so if you haven't seen this film, we're going to spoil it terribly for you, so you might want to go watch it and then come back and listen to the episode. Otherwise, let it be spoiled. Thank you, Arnold. Thank you very much.
Don't give me the crap.
There's no one who has been in a film we've done before on the Film Buster
Surprising
podcast.
that.
Yes. But, yeah, so that leads us straight on to Adam. What is the plot of this film?
I think I kind of briefly described it earlier, but I'll say it again, and I'll say it better.
It bears repeating.
It's set in the 1960s, up north, Nottingham, we believe, and it's about a guy who works in a factory, just everyday guy who likes to try and shag all the women in town, and he gets himself in a lot of trouble by doing this.
And he did this.
There you go. And he did this.
He did this, he did.
Well, I'll tell you guys that this spawned the term kitchen sink drama, which is a very
really?
famous term over here in the UK, with films that are about sort of domestic life, almost like soaps, based on the 1958 novel of the same name, and it spawned the British new wave of filmmaking, leading the way for people like Lindsay Anderson. You know who Lindsay Anderson was? Did If with Malcolm McDowell.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Before he got Clockwork Orange. The big common trope in these British New Wave kitchen sink films was the working class, angry young man character.
Yeah.
And it's permeated through the years through music culture, particularly through music culture. Adam, you will of course have known immediately when you heard the line.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever people say I am, that's what I'm not.
I said it in our group chat the other day when
you did,
we were
and
complaining.
I didn't get the reference at the time because I hadn't seen the movie. But Arctic Monkeys got a reference because that's what they called their debut album. Yeah. Whatever people say I am, that's what I'm not. They are huge fans of the film, as were the Stranglers, who called with one of their albums Saturday Night, Sunday Morning directly.
Oh, wow.
And Morrissey also is a huge fan because there is a line in this film towards the end when Doreen says to Arthur, "Why don't you ever take me where it's lively and there's people?" You recognise that line from any song by Morrissey?
I do not.
You know, there is a light that never goes out. He says a version of that. I want to see people and I want to see life. He stated that the film is one of his favourites. Big
plaudits.
fan of these musicians. It's nominated for 6 BAFTAs, and it won for Best Film, Best Actress, and Most Promising Newcomer.
Was that the guy who played Arthur?
Yeah, Albert Finney.
Did he go on to fill up his promises?
Big Fish.
No, not really. Big Fish, exactly. The only other real film that I could say that I know him from.
Yeah, I've definitely seen him other things.
One?
Yeah, he's the dad in the Tim Burton one.
Oh, okay.
I wonder what else I have seen him in. Let me have a
Is
little
Big
look.
Fish the one with the weird tree on the poster?
Yep.
Okay.
He's really not been in a hell of a lot of... I mean, actually, no, that's not true. Me and Jenny were looking at this the other day. He's been in a lot of stuff like the Bourne films and things like that. He tends to sort of fall into that kind of trapping. I actually saw a film earlier this year with Russell Crowe called A Good Year, which is sort of set in a vineyard in Tuscany, I think it is. And he is the owner of the vineyard.
He's also in Skyfall. He's the
Skyfall
caretaker.
As someone.
He's the caretaker of Skyfall, the house, or like the
that makes sense.
place.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And Miller's Crossing. He's in Miller's Crossing.
Well, he did alright then. I don't think he ever got a role like this, but
he did alright. Kelsey Grammer played the role much better than Albert Finney did. When I saw Kelsey Grammer do it on stage, he made me weep.
Oh, you've seen it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Oh, you can compare then.
Big Fish, I mean.
Oh shit!
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes,
not
I remember you see Big Fish now. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for that, Ben. Very nice.
Thanks.
This is your pick, Adam. So you get to decide what order you want first impressions in.
Filmbusters.
Okay. All right, Doc.
Hit it then, Duck.
We both said Duck.
They say duck a lot in this.
When it does come to like kitchen sink dramas like this, I think there's certainly more in the wheelhouse of you two. Also, I believe. Like I feel like you love this kind of stuff more than I do.
Okay.
The style is like very distinct, isn't it? It's like each scene kind of feels like it has like time to breathe. It's like, and the drama is like multifaceted, and it feels like it just evolves with like many plates spinning at once. It's not like never down like a straight down the line story. It's like loads of different elements. And basically, yeah, as you said, it just feels like you're watching a soap like Coronation Street, just a little less cheery. It's like a lot more focus on living in poverty and people being miserable with sin. But I do like the film. I don't like Arthur, and of course you're not supposed to. But it's one of those cases where I don't enjoy whatever he's doing because he's just a piece of shit. But I kind of just tolerate it in this film, and that isn't to say it's well acted. That like isn't well acted. It's because to make me feel like a distaste for this lead, Albert Finney must be doing like a fine job. But yes, the biggest downside is I just don't really gel with these films and this kind of style. But I enjoyed it, and that's my first impression.
Okay.
I couldn't work out what you're going to give that
No,
as a
that's
score
good.
later.
Well, that's good.
From
It
that.
sounds like it's going to be a 7.
Well,
So
it's
6 or a
it's
7.
one of those ones that it could be like, oh, well, the talk was so tantalising that
Well,
the
there you
score
go,
changed.
yeah.
Who knows?
I think I thought of this film a bit higher than Paul's little praises. I think I very much enjoyed the way it kind of played out. I very much enjoyed kind of how it was just the run-of-the-mill daily life, and I think it gave you a real good snapshot of what it was like in those times. I don't think it was I love to like seeing it in colour maybe to like really get a feel of kind of wow, it's just like a step back in time, but it felt very much of the time and of a certain snapshot of people's lives, and I think it did a great job of capturing that. That's why I can see it can be such an influential film to so many people, especially if you're looking for an outlet at the time. Yes, I didn't really like After, but there was a part of me I just kind of was rooting for him at all times. I know you're not meant to, but yeah, it's kind of like just kind of get the girl, get the house, and get on with it and get on with your life. You're like just a stupid early 20-year-old, like was late teens, is he kind of early 20s, is he meant to be?
Yeah.
Kind of just like what you kind of expect an average guy that age to be at that time, maybe, of being a knob. But yeah, there's kind of, he's got that lovable side that you kind of want to root for him and like get him to sort his life out and get the girl of his dreams. But yeah, I feel like I've enjoyed this film.
You feel like you've enjoyed it.
Enjoyed
And
it
it
more than
sounds
I
like you
was
enjoyed
expecting to.
Yeah. Well, I did enjoy it. Paul, you were very right. It was in my wheelhouse. I do
Yeah.
like this kind of
I thought
thing.
so.
However, on paper, this could have been very, very bland and boring, and it's just underwhelming. But it worked because it was just the whole thing was it felt alive. It felt electric. He's working in this factory. He doesn't really like working for them. He rails against the system. He doesn't want to be part of the system. He doesn't want to grow up to be like his mum and dad. He just wants to get his wage. He wants to go out on the piss. He wants to have a laugh. He wants to sleep with women. He refuses to be constrained. And the dialogue throughout, while all of this is happening, is so good because it's so uniquely British. I think any of our foreign listeners will have a very hard time
I'd say so.
following much of
Why
this
is everyone a
film,
duck?
even
There's
with
no ducks in this
subtitles
film.
on.
There's no ducks in this film. What are they doing?
I know, exactly. They'll be like, what the fuck's a duck? I loved that it kind of... He is kind of unlikable. He is unlikable, and he does unlikable things, but you do root for him. And I don't think it's a bad thing that you do, because it's not like, oh, he's just a bastard. You're connecting with someone who works in a factory for shit pay, works a shit job, essentially. And there are loads and loads and loads of people, particularly back then in the 60s, who would have seen themselves in Arthur. So he embodied the people at the time who were feeling frustrated and didn't want to conform and didn't want to do those sorts of jobs and didn't want the lifestyle that their parents had. Bearing in mind their parents then are the war kids, for God's sake. They didn't want to do that. And just his interactions with people, his own family, the women, whatnot, there was a genuineness to them. It never struck me as him being false. There was a certain bravado at times, but he was very honest about who he was with everyone at all times. And that was kind of refreshing. Really, he was this young, angry man, and yeah, it's a very male thing, is representing men. But at that time, we were not going to see the angry young woman story taking storm. Now we will see versions of this story of young women who are angry with their lot. This was blazing the path for those sort of things to happen at the time. I think it's probably very easy to overlook how good this is because there's been loads of films that have subsequently been created in its image, but I think this was probably absolutely groundbreaking at the time. Really shook the core of comfy households, the new generation.
Made by somebody from the Czech Republic or something? Isn't that where the guy's from?
Maybe. I don't know who this guy is, Carol Rice. I don't know any of his other stuff, but there's a lot of good themes in there as well. I like how complex it is that you're dealing with someone who on face value seems like a kid who refuses to grow up. Then at the same time, when he finds out that the woman that he's sleeping with is pregnant, his reaction isn't, oh, fuck off, go and deal with it yourself. It's, I'm going to help you. And legitimately, they spend 15 minutes on the abortion subplot. And he actually cares. Like, you can see, even within himself, he can't stop growing up. Even though he doesn't want to do it, his nature is making him do it. And I thought that was fascinating. And there were these elements, like that final scene at the end when he's there and he's like, I'm just going to throw my stones. I'll still be throwing stones. And she's like, okay, come on, let's go down. It's like, he's going into that way of life. Nevertheless, he has to grow up. It's an inevitability for everyone. You can rally and rage against it. I never felt that way when I was a young man personally, but I can see why some people would. And it was just very well done. I enjoyed the story immensely all the way through. I enjoyed the performance, the dialogue, the style, the way it was shot, the black and white aesthetic of it all was incredible. I had a good time, very good time.
Do you kind of wish that you did study it properly in school? Because I remember you said it kept coming in.
I would have loved to. I think there would be, it would definitely have been saying a lot of stuff about what Britain, particularly Middle England, was like at that time. Like, this is not a London set story. No. This is the Midlands. And, I know people, like my brothers, were like him.
Yeah. That's the thing. One thing I do take away, like that ending kind of encapsulates it all, doesn't it? It's, you understand the sentiment. And when he's saying, like, his parents, they have their cigarettes, but they're dead from the neck up. It's like he wants to rebel away from that, and he's going to try as hard as he can to do that. It's just how far before it's too far. That's the kind of thing you got to wrestle with in your head in this.
It's kind of like in a way it's a coming of age, it's a post puberty type thing of what's the next phase Britain, now
almost that kind of boomer child, isn't it, that child after the war children come into life and in a world, in a country that's not ready for them yet.
Exactly. I mean, he's 22 in this. So he was born, 1938?
Yeah.
People look so old back then, didn't they? It's like they did not say he's 22.
Was the actor actually 22 as well?
No, he was actually 22, yeah.
Okay.
But they did. But, I think if you were working class this is going to be a very English-centric episode, dear listeners, so for those of you who aren't, try and keep up with what we're saying here. But in those places like Coventry, like Birmingham, well, not even Birmingham, that's big. Any of those places where it's factory work, that was thankless work that they were doing for a very, very low wage. All of them would have just hated that system that they were in.
Tight-knit communities, wasn't it? Everybody's there to look after each other and everybody knows your business. Like, that's what it seems like. Everybody was like, nice. No, but because there's nothing else that really happens. Your world is as far as the factory in your house and the local pub and supermarket.
Yeah. So of course you would. What else are you going to do when you get your wage? Then you're going to drink your woes away. You're going to drink constantly.
It's escaping, but with it you can't escape it.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me at all how much this would have resonated back then, because it's like this is calling to all those kind of youth who are in the exact kind of situation, and it's like this is the way forward, and this is like it's okay to be this way, and it's basically a picture of them kind of thing, isn't it? And it's like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm seeing me in a film.
And I guess it carries over in a way. Like if you think about people like nowadays, but particularly working class, and I do think it is relevant to say like not city centres, those places that aren't cities across the UK.
This used to be the city centre, didn't it? That used to be.
Well, there you go.
The centre used to be full of workers, didn't it? And the outskirts used to be where the richer people lived, and then it slowly swapped around, and yeah.
But all those towns, and I don't, for any listeners in the UK who come from these towns, I mean no disrespect when I say this, but there is a reason that I would only live in London. And if I didn't live in London, I would leave this country. Because those towns are depressing to me. Because
those towns aren't like that anymore, though, are they? They're there to an extent, but they're not to that.
I think
the walls aren't as built as they were, I'd say. Then you have the means to, like, public transport is more accessible. You have the means to explore and look out, rather than I think back then it was very much, unless you had a car, which was probably silly expensive, you probably couldn't afford to go on holidays. That was your life. Like there was almost like a fortress that you were in.
Like stuck, small town kind of mentality. I'm not going to leave. This is my home. There's nothing else outside.
Well, it's almost like you
exactly,
get that now, but by then I think it was a bit more by force rather than by choice.
Yeah, but you absolutely do still get it now, mate. Like my nephews and nieces, if you talk to them about leaving Coventry, they're like, why do I want to go to London for, the big city? That's terrible. You don't get this, that. They'll stay there their whole lives.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it, but that's because it's less forced upon. If this was a film about him now, this wouldn't be about him causing chaos in his own city. This would be him probably travelling and exploring and breaking free and going somewhere else and starting a new life, rather than trying to be the person who breaks the mould within where he lives.
Yeah, but would it though? Because don't you think that they specifically trying to make reference to the fact here that he's on very low pay, so he wouldn't be off travelling. He wouldn't be travelling Thailand for 3 months and stuff like that, because he's working class.
Yeah, but there's almost a point now if you can just take your shit and go and try and find a job somewhere else. And
did they not mention that when his boss came over, that he said, "Don't let anyone see your paycheck. You're one of the highest paid here."
Yes, yeah, they did say that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
but that's because Arthur was being bolshy with him, wasn't he? He was saying, "You need to pay me more."
Yeah.
Either way, it's regardless about it being.
I can see why it's so influential to certain bands, like you said, of growing up and maybe watching this film, you'd be like, "Fuck, this is revolutionary!" Like you said, it created the kitchen sink drama kind of thing. I completely get that now. It's kind of those Ken Loach kind of films.
Yeah,
in a way
exactly.
It's definitely a snapshot of the time, though, isn't it? Because it's like, as you say, if this was made nowadays, this would be a different story. It's because I feel like young people have so much more opportunities nowadays, and they want to succeed, and they want to progress.
Also, I love
that
it's like they're talking about the old and new houses and all that kind of stuff, and it's like you look at these houses built then, and you're like, wow, like people weren't probably objecting to these houses being built, or let alone describing them. Yeah. Like new and old, it's like, what do we describe as living in a new house and an old house? It's not one with a toilet inside or outside. Like, it's all those kind of levels of.
That's progress, man. Like that whole thing.
It's snapshots in life of I think it's just perfectly. It's that not lightning in a bottle, but it's that time in a bottle, isn't it? It's why I like to say and the black and white is obviously how it's meant to be and it's perfect. But just imagine watching this film with a bit of colour added to it. Like, you just get a real sense of. I don't know, it could almost be, I don't know.
Well, it
what it was like.
emphasises that bleakness with it being
Yeah.
black and white like this, though,
Yeah.
doesn't it, as well?
But it was also, I don't know what when you guys watched, but it was almost like a crisp black and white. It was like HD, which I
Yeah.
love.
Yeah, it was.
But,
It was very crisp, yeah. It was a very good transfer. On
probably because
Amazon
it's
Prime in the
restored
end, I
so
think it
well.
was.
Because was yours on Amazon Prime in the end, Ben?
Yeah, it was. It flagged on the Fire Stick. On the phone and doing it on the laptop, it said unavailable, but on the Fire Stick, it was there.
Yeah, same. How weird.
So I was using a Fire Stick and it didn't work.
Yeah. But
Also, did any time of this did he remind you of Alex from Clockwork Orange? He kept
not
saying
while
stuff.
watching it, but afterwards, yes.
He kept saying some stuff, and I'm like, "You are just a real life Alex. You're not an accentuated kind of." Sometimes they'll say stuff in a certain way of like. I don't think their accents are even similar. Just the way they would phrase sentences and
Well, it's
all
just
of
that way of talking up there that is so uniquely from the north.
Yeah, it's like missing out words of your sentence, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
don't say to or the.
Yeah, almost like another language, even though it's still English.
Yeah. And very comforting, quite nice to hear. I actually also really loved how much he was drinking, because even though it was meant to sort of emphasise the fact that he has nothing else, he just drinks his paycheck away and sleeps with women and that's it. There was something quite nice about seeing the sense of community that he kind of was encountering everywhere he went. Like, he had friends everywhere with his drinking,
Yeah, for sure.
which is a problem. Which is definitely a problem. If you know people in every watering hole, you got a bit of a problem going on. But it was nice in the context of what it was, because it did, yeah, like what you were saying, Adam, they are close-knit communities, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, they are. So when you go in those places, everyone knows and recognises you, and you can have good company. They were always drinking stout. Did you notice that?
Were they?
That it was stout is all they were drinking. No, or brown ale maybe, but he was at the bar. I thought you were going to ask this as a quiz question. He was asking the bar maid for a beer and stout, and then he was getting a pint of stout. I was like, what do you mean beer and stout?
A mix,
Like back then,
cocktail.
it must have been. I don't know if that was like maybe how it was asked for though. Like maybe back then it was like beer and stout, as in put some stout in it, and that becomes a stout.
Or unless they just distinguishing it between, I don't know.
It's just like shortened down to just stout now.
Maybe. Made me very thirsty anyway.
I do like that sense of community though, as you say. It's you can see it everywhere in like your own life, where it's like the nosy neighbour. It's like who wants to know everyone's business, and I thought that was a great character, and also it's just this. It was very alive, the city, like just that random scene of the man who comes along and smashes the window.
Oh yeah.
And it's just things are just happening in the background. It's everything's just the life's going on outside of this story. That's just
Also, it
playing out.
wasn't set over the time period. I thought it was literally going to be a 12-hour, like a
Yeah.
dust, but it wasn't.
Time
It was
flew.
kind of over. It felt like it kind of over a week almost.
Yeah, it was over some time, really.
Yeah.
Some significant time, because the whole Saturday night, Sunday morning felt more like the repercussions of Saturday night will be felt Sunday morning. So all those things that you do,
It's a
there
cycle,
are
isn't
consequences
it?
to this shit. There's an end.
Like
to
you
the
never
Saturday
escape
night.
it. You come back. It comes back to you the next day.
Yes, and that the party has to end sometime,
Yeah. For sure.
which it does for him, I guess. At the end, what did you think about Albert Finney as a actor? Like we all said, we haven't really seen him in stuff properly before. Do you like his performance?
I did, yeah. I thought he was very convincing. What he was meant to portray, especially for Paul, I guess, when he didn't like him. But
Yeah, that's true, Paul. And because obviously, without knowing the scores, it's clear that you disliked it the most. Would you? Did you still like his performance though? Did you think
No,
his
fantastic.
performance was very good despite
Fantastic.
the
And
problems?
that's what I was saying. It's the fact that I disliked it so much is because of how great the performance was. Every step of the way I was like, oh man, I don't like this guy. And it's because of he was performing it well, you know. And I think I think Albert Finney's great. He's just he's very distinctive. Like his face as
he's
well.
very much
he's
that
like
person. He's very much Arthur.
yeah. He looks almost brutish.
Yeah, he
And
does look
even
British.
even
He
like
does.
as an older man, his look hasn't changed. It's
If you punched him, it's going to hurt.
yeah. Even though in Big Fish, he almost played against type. He felt like a very soft nice kind of man. He played
I can't
against
remember
that.
his performance in that too much.
Yeah, it was like a sweet old man who used to tell outlandish stories to his son, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
totally complete opposite of what you'd imagine his character to be.
What do you think? I'm like, he's brash and he's like immoral to a point, but actually he's layered. He's very much like my tattoo says, he's grey. People are not one thing or the other, and you could say in the context of the film, like he is like a product of his environment as well, because he's given no hope. There's nothing really for him to aspire to beyond becoming like his parents, and he's angry at that. So he's rebelling. He's thrashing out against it, which, yeah, he's doing some unpleasant stuff and he's acting in a way that we might not quite like, but he's not actually a bad person. He doesn't do anything that's particularly like terrible. Yes, he sleeps with his colleague's wife, but she, if anyone's going to feel more bad about it, it should be her, because she's his wife.
Yeah, for sure.
And they really give layers to their relationship to show that it's not just a fuck. There's something more there.
I think it's just is he using his upbringing and his position as an excuse, because his cousin was quite a nice guy, and he obviously was doing it in the exact same position.
Yeah. Did his cousin work in the factory as well? He did, didn't he?
I mean, I don't know. I don't think we ever really get a background of what he does, but he's not in any kind of. They don't portray him as he's got a better life than his cousin. He's still going out with the women, just like Albert is. And,
yeah.
But he might be a little pestering that woman every time Albert's girlfriend turns up asking how the other girl is. But he still seems quite pleasant.
I know, but see, and this is the beauty of film. You know that if the film was about that guy,
yeah,
we wouldn't be interested.
No, we wouldn't.
We love that the fact that this guy's a bit of a fucking brute, because he's like, we kind of like it. We kind of like it, don't we? As viewers,
a bad boy.
We're titillated a bit that he's sleeping with a married woman, and then he's got another woman on the go, and he's shooting his neighbour in the arse. We kind of like it because it's just a bit. It's rebellious. It's brash, isn't it?
Yeah, you want to see a snapshot.
He's very outspoken, and he's like, oh, I kind of like that.
A snapshot like Adam, of something that's
in some
not
ways.
You. Although it kind of resonated with people back then, because that was kind of seeing them in the mirror. Nowadays, it's like, oh, let me see a snapshot of what it was like back then. And although I wouldn't go about my life like that, it's kind of resonates because of how horrible he is.
Yeah. I mean,
whether you think he's horrible or not, it's the question.
Yeah. I mean, he does some dubious shit. Like, what do you think the worst thing he does in the film is?
Sleep with the other man's wife.
Maybe shooting the woman with an air rifle. I mean, it depends on how powerful an air rifle is.
I mean, that whole thing was kind of mental. Yeah, that's where he started pushing the boundaries with me. The thing that was interesting about him sleeping with his colleague's wife, right, is how they later then framed his colleague's reaction to it, because that came down to masculinity. Now it's like, okay, now we're exploring facets of masculinity, because Arthur is this young, fresh brute, and this guy who's married, who has been married for a while, is almost impotent now. He's lost his zest, and he doesn't even when he finds out that his wife's clearly been cheating on him, he just gives her a slap round the face, and then he doesn't even square up really to Arthur the next day. He's just like, oh, well, Arthur, you were silly, you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, and I'll get my cousins back or my brother down next time.
Exactly.
If you do it again.
Yeah, and
I won't do anything myself.
So it's like soldiers that needed to reinforce the masculinity there. So it's almost like he was asking for it, and because she was the one who won the BAFTA, by the way. It was her.
Yeah.
What was her name? Brenda. Because she was such an interesting character in herself, it didn't feel like, oh, it's just some sordid affair, because it actually felt like there was a connection there. She was a very vibrant character herself. She was very alive. So it actually felt like this was the right thing for her to be doing, even though it was wrong in the traditional marriage. It was the right thing for her there. She had a kid and everything, but And they didn't. And this, I read that this is the very first film in the UK, made in the UK, to show extramarital affair.
Oh yes, they went
Yeah.
to remove it, didn't they? I think
They wanted to remove it.
Yeah, yeah.
The film had everything.
It did. And then to whack in the abortion subplot was like, wow. For that time, I could imagine that really getting people's backs up.
And it's also quite
Even
ahead of
today.
its time, where Albert is kind of the one who wants to have the baby. It's like in any other film, it's normally the man like, get rid of it.
Especially
Yeah.
Get rid
what
of
his
it.
position is as well.
Yeah.
He's not ready to grow up about anything, but then suddenly he's like, oh, fuck it. I've got to do this now.
Yeah, there's some kind of layer there, isn't there? Where he'd still want to go. He's adult enough to go along with that because it's his kind of burden, so he's going to kind of go ahead with it.
Yeah, but that's it. He may think that he doesn't want to grow up, but he's already doing it. He doesn't even realise.
Yeah.
He's doing things like, and you're right. He said that it was like that he wanted the kid, but when she said she wants rid of it, he wasn't like, no. We're going to have this kid. He was like, I will, in his own way, he was like, I will support you,
Yeah. And,
whichever way we're going to do this.
Yeah, and I'll even pay for it, kind of thing. It's like, and she's like, how are you going to do that? It's like, don't worry about it. I'll sort it out. It's like that is a very adult kind of. He's got his head on straight. For
And then it was
moments.
it was sweet when he took her to his aunt's and that relationship with his aunt was very tender and very sweet as well. That showed that he, just like many kids, arseholes to their parents, but then to other members of the family, like sweetness and light, particularly when they're teenagers. But he obviously had a bond with that aunt to feel like he could go and connect with her and talk to her like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true to life as well. I've got my cousin's exactly the same. He basically lives around my mum's house, and he terrorises his parents.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, same. It's true to life, that one.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like there is. It's a very. It is what it is. The film is very strong. It is what it is, and you can see the themes that it's talking about are there on display. It's not like you need to read into it to pick up themes, but they're there. They're all there.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think he is a heroic figure in a weird way in this film. I think the world needs someone like him to shake it up and actually say that, this system is a bit bullshit, right? We shouldn't all just conform to this. Not everyone wants to get married as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is the thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. Not everyone has to do that. Not everyone has to fall into those so-called trappings, but...
Although it kind of gets to, don't you feel it gets to the point at the end where it's like, but even though he is so hard-nosed, at the end he's kind of like, I will give you a ring. He's almost like he wants to marry. It's depending what he's met the right person, it's the right time, and now he suddenly wants to get a house, and it's like everyone can kind of
It's like
soften.
a wake-up call for everything that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, when he... So, the thing that I didn't like about the film was the circus, the funfair stuff. Yes, it did. Yes, it did, yeah.
Going under the Ferris wheel. Or the
Do you know
carousel.
why it was jarring was like it felt very out of place with the rest of the film, because the rest of the film had been so gritty and realistic. It suddenly
This was
felt like,
suddenly
okay,
fun.
now we're watching a set piece. It felt like we were watching a set piece when them soldiers were moving around and he was going around on that. It felt like, it feels like I'm watching a film now.
It was like a tension, like they wanted to build tension, they wanted to build suspense, when the really came from just being the life was what you wanted to see, not like a day in the life rather than...
The energy of the film was already good just with that day-to-day shit. So I didn't need it, but you get to a conclusion, so you need to do that stuff. But hey, how good were the effects, the practical effects after he'd been punched up? He looked very convincingly like he'd been punched up.
Maybe he actually got punched up.
His top lip was so he looked like the Elephant Man.
Yeah, it was a very good effect, for sure. I was wondering how far they'll go with it, because they were probably giving him a beating, although the punches didn't look that great.
No, they didn't. They didn't.
But
I also like the window of, like, there was two people in the window, And it was almost like they were filming outside the bottom of this guy's house, and he's like, "What the fuck's going on out there?" And they're just looking down, and they're like, "Oh."
And someone comes along, it's like, "Shut that curtain."
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some other interesting things, like after he when he comes down at his parents' house, his mum's made him breakfast, made him dinner. Same morning after, when he slept with the married woman, she's making his dinner. So he's still a fucking baby, still refuses to have any sort of responsibilities or anything that he needs to hold himself accountable to. He wants freedom from all of that.
It's funny how times have changed, because that same scene I think you're talking about, he sits there about to have his breakfast, and he's like speaking over his father, who he's talking to, and he's got his back to him, and he says, I'm not going to sit there and watch TV all day. But that's probably the opposite of what a parent would be saying to their kid nowadays.
Yep, that is true. And yeah, it's true. Back then, of course, it makes sense, because TV was shit. You were limited. You weren't watching films all day. You were watching game shows and news and crap, and it was all crap. So for young people back then, it would have been about going out. It absolutely would have been about that. We've definitely lost something, man, in our times now, the 21st century, because we have access to screens constantly. This is not a new fucking story that I'm spinning here, but you know, it is true.
I always love that thing of like, if you went back to the 60s and whenever point in time, and you said to somebody, I've got this little thing in my pocket and I can access any bit of information in the world at any given moment and all of this, and connect to whoever you want to connect to. But when they're like, what do you use it for? And you're like, oh, just look at pictures of cats.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
there you go. Yeah. There is something beautiful, man, about his character doing what he's doing. Yeah. Because it kind of feels like like anyone who just hasn't quite grown up yet, and he will grow up.
Alex again in kind of Clockwork Orange. I know I've mentioned it, but like for the other reasons of, yes, he's a complete twat, but you kind of want him to win.
Yeah,
you kind of want him to break free out of it. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Very much. They had a lot of similarities within there. But yeah.
Yeah,
that's very true.
Did you like the old we have to speak loudly so my mum thinks you're gone stuff?
Oh yeah.
It's because she's slightly
like,
deaf.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Say it twice. Wasn't loud enough.
Yeah. These were funny moments, man. I liked it. I really, really liked it. I would watch it again. It was much, much better than I was expecting it to be as well. I thought it would be good, but I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did.
That's nice. I had a feeling it would be right up both your streets.
Aye.
Right,
I
duck. I duck.
Aye. I feel like I've done it a disservice. Like, we could have talked more about it, but I don't know. I feel like that is what it is.
I feel like the film speaks for itself, though.
It does. It does speak for itself.
It's quite a hard film to describe.
Yeah. It was good. And I liked that it opened with his narration as well. Like, I thought that was a bit disarming. At first, I was like, what's going on here? Where's that voice meant to be coming from? Is someone talking off camera? And it's like, no, this is just the voice in his head while he's doing this manual labour job.
Yeah, it was a good bit of narration as well.
Yeah. You like when he put a rat in the lady's inbox?
Yes.
Very childish.
Very childish. It wasn't me.
And he was chewing that sandwich like a brute. You know, sometimes you see this in movies, right? I've seen this in movies, and it always looks delicious, but it doesn't work practically in real life. Normally it's a sandwich. Someone is eating a sandwich, and they are drinking whatever they're drinking at the same time.
Oh,
so they got a mouthful of sandwich, and then they pour tea, having a drink of tea. You still got it in your mouth. Do you ever do that? Who drinks when they got food in their mouth?
Hell no. Soggy sandwich.
Soggy sandwich. I like sandwiches anyway.
I don't like sandwiches.
I do. What's your favourite sandwich?
Probably a good, like, tuna one. I do love a good tuna sandwich.
I do like
it. Fix a bit.
Cheese and pickle.
Oh, well, mine's ham and mustard. Look at that. 3 very distinctly different. And what crisp do you put in a sandwich if you put a crisp in a sandwich?
I don't put crisp in a sandwich.
If I did, it would be probably like a cheese and onion crisp.
Yeah, cheese and onion crisp. Paul's already got that cheese in his cheese and pickle, so he kind of more cheese.
I'd probably put a salt, already salted. because I think it just have a nice little salty. I don't know. I think the vinegar would be salt and vinegar would be a bit too much in a cheese and pickle sandwich.
Cheese and pickle sandwich. There you are, Duck.
There we are, Duck.
Have that with a glass of beer and stout.
Bit of drink of milk while you're eating the sandwich.
Yeah.
All thick. Yucky.
But this is our country and this is our film, and we can be proud that we do a film like this. Only the Brits can do it.
Absolutely. I wonder if any of our foreign listeners will watch this film. I just want to know what you think of it. That would be nice.
I can't begin to think what they would interpret. Although that's being a bit snobby of us. I think they're aware that other cultures must exist, and
yeah, of course,
people having different experiences to them. But I still think this would be a hard film to access if you aren't already from England.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, maybe we're wrapping up then.
Should we go to the ratings?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think this film is, as I think we've proven with this episode, I think it's better to talk about than actually watch for me, because I don't think we go too in depth into the film, and we kind of talk around the film and what kind of feeling it gives us. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10.
Okay,
there we go, 6.
It's a shame. I very much enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it even more talking about it, and it was probably going to be a 7, but it's definitely an 8 out of 10.
You got me there too. It is an 8 out of 10 for me. I was toying with a 9, but I don't know.
Wow.
It wasn't quite there for me.
Interesting.
There you go. So 2 8s and a 6, which means we average at 7.33, and it's time to place a movie once again, boys. Are you ready to play the place a movie game?
Yes.
Let's place a movie game.
Okay, so first up on 7.33, we have Possum.
This is going to be just you two deciding, basically, because I give Possum higher, so
I think this is better.
This is better than Possum.
so
yeah.
I let you two go ahead and decide.
Yeah, but surely you there'll be other stuff
for quite
that
a few here. Wait a minute, one, yeah.
All right, well let's go.
All
Let's
of
go and
these are
see.
lower.
Avenge. You have to say your vote anyway. Avengers Endgame is better than that.
better.
Just carry on. See, I'm not going to say anything.
Better or worse than I, Tonya?
This is better than I, Tonya.
Yeah. Funny Games.
Better.
I say this is better.
All these films so far, I think, are better than Saturday Night, Sunday Morning. So I'm just going to stay quiet until it changes.
Okay. Dragged Across Concrete. This is better than that. Although
This is better,
I've
yeah.
really taken kindly to Drag Across Concrete as time has passed.
I know, it's beautiful.
Can You Ever Forgive Me? It's better than that.
Yeah, it's better.
13 is better than that.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Well, I think it's going all the way. The Gentleman.
I think I prefer The Gentleman, actually. I think, yeah.
I prefer this to The Gentleman. So Adam, deciding vote. Does it go all the way?
Very two types of different British films.
They are. They are.
I'd say this one. Fuck it, why not?
Way! It
All the
went
way to the
all
top.
the way through the 7.3s. How'd you like that?
I like it when a film does that.
That's nice, isn't it?
We like it very much. I'll allow it.
You little trooper. That was nice to see you fly, baby. I love the way you've wings spread,
I
baby.
love the way you fly. Do you want to hear a little comment we got from someone on Twitter about what they thought this one?
Yeah.
Okay, who do you think it is?
Luke Human.
Luke Human. He loves giving us his reviews. He
Good.
said,
We love hearing them. Thank you.
yes, he said, a spiritual precursor to Saturday Night Fever, an incredible portrayal of working class angst that undoubtedly influenced late 20th century British cinema, an iconic anti-hero eliciting enough pathos to keep you conflictedly engaged, presented in a contemporarily digestible style. 9 out of 10.
Yeah, all very true. All
Very good.
true words spoken.
There we go. That's what he thought.
Have you boys seen Saturday Night Fever?
I haven't.
I haven't.
I don't think so. Maybe do that as special.
It's interesting that he says it's like a spiritual predecessor, because that suggests that Saturday Night Fever is the same sort of themes, like
I would not
a
have
young
thought
guy not wanting to grow up. I could believe that, though. Maybe just taking all his time on the dance floor. We need to watch that
maybe
movie.
preview my quiz question.
It did.
Yeah.
There you go. Right, so we should talk about what we're doing next, I guess. Ben's gone a little break, but I think we should say now what we will be doing when you come back.
Yes, we can. So, I am sending us to another country.
Beauty.
Yeah. And we're heading off to the Far East again.
Okay.
And we're going to Japan.
Oh,
And we're going to do our first ever Kurosawa film.
Oh wow!
And we're going
wow.
to do a film called The Bad Sleep Well.
oh, wow.
Yes.
Never heard of it.
You want me to read the description?
I don't know. Should we go back row blind?
Yeah, go blind. Let's all go blind. I'm not going to read nothing more about it.
Oh,
but I
back row
will say
blind.
that Adam's friend Dan, who's a big Kurosawa
Hasn't
fan,
seen it.
he has it on his watch list and he hasn't seen it.
Oh, that's more tantalising than ever.
It's tantalising.
Fucking long film.
Now, boys, it's only 2.5 hours. It's not that long by modern day standards.
Adam has
and
no
you have
patience
time.
for it.
I know. You've got time because I'm going on holiday for 2 weeks, so there's plenty of time.
Just read the first line of the description.
All right.
Don't tell
Couldn't
us.
help yourself. Couldn't help yourself.
Well, I just put it.
The only thing, boys, is I am not sure how you will watch it because I subscribe to BFI Player and it's on there. So if you haven't subscribed to it, just do the 1 week free trial.
Okay, I'll work it out.
Yeah?
I'll work it out.
Or Dan could order the Blu-ray and send it through the post to you both. Like we were going to do that time with whatever film it was we
I'm
had.
pretty sure you could just rent it if not.
It's still mad that Velocipasta is the most expensive film that I currently own.
I hope it still takes pride of place.
Hey,
What
it's
a
still
ride.
there, baby. Yeah.
What ride that film is.
Jenny's taken that to work to lend to one of her co-workers at one point as well. It's got legs, man. It's
I
still
was actually
reaching an
thinking the other day, I
audience.
was like, I would really love to rewatch that film.
I would. Anyway, that's where we're going.
Beauty. Can't wait. But yes, Ben, you will be going on holiday, so me and Adam will fill in, and we might bring a guest on. Who knows? But something
We
will
don't know
happen
what we're
in that
doing yet,
little space.
basically.
Yeah, something will happen in that space. And
we
we'll
might
work
not
out.
do anything, so who knows?
We'll do something.
I look forward to listening to it. Do you
Yes,
think whatever
yes.
it is will be released when I'm on holiday so I
Oh,
can
of course
listen
it
to your
will.
dulcet tones in my ears when I'm on holiday?
This one will be released.
This one will be released just as my plane goes down. Exactly. Imagine that I'm listening to this while I'm screaming.
What,
You won't even be speaking. You won't even be saying goodbye to Jenny. You'll just be listening to this.
That's an Arthur mentality, that is.
I'm listening to
Don't
the
make me cry.
podcast, Doc.
I'm listening to me bloody podcast, Doc.
Beautiful
Brutish.
stuff. Beautiful stuff. Should we go on to what our
Beautiful
patrons
stuff.
have to say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good pick,
Okay.
Adam, though, by the way.
Yeah, very good pick. Thanks, Adam. So, our patrons, they suggest films that they've been watching the past week, and we tell you about them. We tell you whether you should watch them or not, basically. And if you want to do that, you can go on our Patreon, www.patreon.com/filmbusters, and you can become a patron, just like the likes of Luke Bennett.
Yes, you can. You can also join Francis Cibarini.
And you can also join in with Andy Bishop.
You can join in with Stephen Mark from Movie Drone.
You can join Brent from Home Video Hustle.
You can join in with Luke Human.
You can join in with Nerd Rovert.
You can join Julio. I'm not going to make that sound like
Do the voice. You can join in with Jamie Russell.
And you can join in with Katie and Oti.
We love Puerto Rico.
Okay.
So, we've got two people, and they're going to tell us what they've been watching. First, we've got Luke Human. He said, if it's not too late. You weren't too late, Luke. You made it just in time. He says, I'll try to make it quick this week. The Good, 2018's Holiday, a Danish drama about a young woman drawn into a small drug-dealing gang living on the Turkish Riviera. Incredible central performance from Victoria Carmen. Victoria Carmen's Sonne? Has she got a double barrel? You got a double barrel name?
Here comes the sun.
Here comes the Sonne.
Yeah.
That's Sonne. That's a
Sonne.
Rammstein song.
It
Who
is a Rammstein
manages
song.
to balance vulnerability and strength, but a very difficult watch at points. 9 out of 10. That is Holiday from 2018, a Danish film. If you want to fancy watching that, apparently Luke said
Never
it's
heard
good.
of it.
Never heard of it too.
Nice. Just on that Rammstein song, Here Comes the Sun,
Yeah.
which is Here Comes the Sun in English, surprisingly. Do you know that originally that was written for a movie? I can't remember what it was, about a boxer. And the song Here Comes the Sun is meant to be about, his boxing glove coming and knocking out his opponents. Wouldn't you have loved to have seen that? Doesn't that sound amazing? Using that in a boxing movie. Here comes the sun, and it's the punch that knocks you out.
Lovely.
It's interesting.
Do you reckon he has a sun on the end of his glove with a smiley
Oh,
face?
kid.
That'd be nice. Einstein.
Kid.
Yeah,
Rammstein.
one kid.
Water.
You carry
The
on, Paul?
Bad, Am I
Mine.
Dead, Reckoning.
No,
An uneven
you going
MacGuffin-y
to
mess.
read it for me now?
No.
The Bad, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Am I Dead, yeah.
Is that what it's called, the new one? Dead Reckoning. Yeah.
Dead Reckoning.
Part 1. And even MacGuffin-y mess with a threat so difficult to make engaging, they must retcon the protagonist's backstory to provide a more tangible antagonist. Well paced though, 6 out of 10. Well, I never.
That's harsh, isn't it?
That is harsh. That's probably how I felt about Fallout. I was going to go see the new one at some point this week or last week. I kept meaning to various points, so I never got around to it.
I wanted to go through all the Mission Impossibles because I feel like I've only actually seen the first one and this most recent one, but they're just so poorly reviewed.
I think they're
They were
very
a
good.
bit weird.
I don't know if it's worth it to get to these good ones.
The second one's shitty. That's the only thing you've got to know. But the other ones have very good set pieces.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we will check that out at some time, I'm sure.
Yes, we sure will.
You want to do Julio, Adam?
You could do Julio. There's no other ones, but
They're very short. You may as well.
you could do. I'll do the Julio good, or you can do the Julio bad.
All right, that's fine.
Okay, Julio good says, Oppenheimer, my boys. Nolan may be an entitled arsehole, but he still knows how to make a movie. Very much agree with you.
There you go.
Spoilers for the patron.
Check out the Patreon to hear how much Adam agrees with you. But here, I've seen what Julio's been up to in the last week. This is what he said. Bad. Revisited Matrix Revolutions, hopefully for the very last time. Pure wankery, as they say on your side of the world. Should have stopped after the first one. This foolish man. He thinks that I didn't see what he was doing. I've been seeing him liking my Matrix reviews each day, and then I hop over and I check what he's been given, and he's been trashing them. He's been absolutely trashing them.
This is all sass for you.
Oh yeah, he's sassing me, man. And this is the thing, Julio. I can understand people not liking it, but I know how much rope and slack you give some terrible entries in the Marvel universe, and you know they're bad films, and you give them so much slack, and you won't give it for this original, intelligent, intellectual property by the Wachowskis.
I
Come
swear
on,
we've had
man.
so many arguments. I feel we have more arguments about
aren't
the
you-
Matrix than we have
but-
about superhero films.
Aren't you backing Matrix Resurrections over Revolutions?
Yes, I am.
So he's talking about Revolutions.
Yeah, I know, but he gives Revolutions I think it was 1 star or 2 stars.
You mean Resurrections?
No, the third one. Revolutions is the third one, right?
Yeah, but you're talking about Resurrections, right? How much you love it.
Yes.
Yeah. He does give he gives it a 2 out of 10.
But Revolutions is the third one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like that third one. I give that an 8.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was really cool. I think there's such cool shit in Revolutions. That all the Mr. Smiths and the fighting in the rain. Christ, that's incredible set piece.
How long ago? When did you last return to that film?
Last year. Well, but whenever Resurrections came out in the cinema, we watched them just in a couple of weeks leading up to that. So not long ago at all.
Talk about terrible CGI.
That's. I mean, I don't even have an answer. Can't finish that sentence.
Well, we love Julio regardless.
We do, very, very much so.
Yeah. Well, thank you, patrons. Very nice Thanks for sassing Ben there, Julio.
Good.
We love you.
It's always good at that.
And that's the end of Saturday night. So it's Sunday morning now. We finished
Time
the
for the
record.
come down.
Yeah, it's time for the come down. And we hope you enjoyed that episode.
I know. And now we're going to take a break again. All we're doing is taking breaks.
I know.
Well, you're going to take a break.
Ben's taking a break. Don't blame it on us this
Oh, no,
time.
that's true. Yes.
Yes, we'll be back
Put us
with
in
some
your-
form of content.
Tarnish us with that brush.
Once I'm back
We'll be
from
consistent.
this holiday, we'll be consistent to the end of the year. I don't think there's any
You'll get
big
one every
things.
10 days.
Yes. Unless another child pops out.
We hope
Or
not.
we decide another holiday.
We hope
To be
not.
fair, I'm away quite a bit in September, but they're mainly over weekends. We'll work it out.
There could be a hidden pregnancy. There could be a surrogate. There could be a surrogate out there.
Who knows? I might adopt.
Exactly.
See what happens.
There's a surrogate out there. You've put your baby in some other woman, and it's out there.
Well, I am happy to raise that baby just like Albert.
No,
Yes.
Paul paid for the abortion like a good boy.